All right, good afternoon, Lake Norman. Good afternoon, it's Tuesday. So that Tuesday afternoon means it's time to know the scene here. Find out what's going on around the Lake Norman scene, around these great towns that make up this wonderful community. What's going on around here? What kind of things can you do? What can you listen to? What kind of food should you be checking out? What can you be doing with your friends? That's what Know the Scene is all about. I'm Justin Dionne, your host. Happy to be here for another week and another fantastic show. We do have a special guest today, Mike Farris. But before we jump in with Mike, just give you all some quick updates about just everything that's happening. We are it's almost the middle of November already. It's wild. I mean, it's tomorrow. Tomorrow's the 15th, right? So we're already halfway through November, and apparently that means like we're already into Christmas. And that's okay. Hey, look, I want you all to know there is no judgment here. All right? Like, this is a judgment-free zone here on Know the Scene. All right? You do you. All right? If you're one of those people who likes to get into that Christmas spirit on November 1st, that's cool. You do you. If you're one of those people who waits until it is like a thing that you will not do any Christmas decorating or decking the halls or singing about the Grinch or anything until after Thanksgiving, good for you too. Whatever makes you happy, guys. Life is too short. Life is too short. So whatever's going to make you happy in that, you do you and you have your joy where you can get it. So we're moving into that holiday season. But the reason I'm saying that also is because we're coming up on a lot of holiday-oriented events you may have seen already, right? So the town of Cornelius is working on their Light Up Cornelius event and festival is coming up at the end of November. We've got that North Mecklenburg Christmas Parade coming at the very beginning of December, which is, I'm saying all this because it's like 2 weeks away. Like it'll be here before you know it, right? We do have some wonderful Thanksgiving events coming up too. We're gonna have that Thanksgiving Day parade that happens down in Charlotte. Down there, make sure you consider checking that out. There's a wonderful multi-church Thanksgiving service happening this Sunday at Kane Center. You can learn more about that. Check that out. And lots of great things happening. So, make sure you're visiting you're paying attention to things like the wonderful WSIC station and going to their event calendar there. Make sure you're visiting your other publications and things, your websites, all the things that happen to know what's going on. Kane Center for the Arts, we have a great show coming up this weekend. As always, we've got just wonderful, wonderful things going on and happening at the center. We do have coming up this weekend. We're gonna dip into some rock and roll and some blues this weekend with Mike Farris and the Fortunate Few. And Mike is with us today. Welcome, Mike, to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Yes, sir. Really excited to have you here on the show today. Mike, so you're zooming in with us. If you guys are online watching, unfortunately, we've had a malfunction with Mike's camera, so you can't see him. You just have to look at my ugly mug this afternoon. But for now, unless something happens, but Mike is with us. Mike, where are you coming to us from?
I'm at home here in Nashville.
That's what I was thinking. You said, Nashville. You're like the fourth, maybe the third or fourth guest we've had zoom in from Nashville. So we're starting to have a theme. We're starting to find a theme here.
Well, majority of musicians are in Nashville now, so that totally tracks. So
yes, sir. And you've been there a long time, correct?
I'm born and raised just south of here, so
right.
I'm a native.
Yes, sir. The Tennessean.
Oh yeah, very proud of it.
That's great. That's great. So why don't if you can help us help us. We always like to start with just asking our guests to kind of help set the stage, if you will, for our listeners. Tell us about yourself and where you are from in that Tennessee, Southern Tennessee area, and what's your story?
Well, the abbreviated version of it is I'm a lifelong musician. I've been doing this my whole life. Was lucky enough to be signed at a very young age, and and my career took off. Started when I was 22,
Hmm.
and so it's all I've known, and so I've been through all the ups and downs of the music industry over the years, and all the way to the pinnacle in some ways, which a few years ago, um, my journey led me to Los Angeles, California, and where I won a Grammy.
Hmm.
I've got an Americana Award and a Dove Award, and um, for better or worse, this is what I do.
That's amazing. And we are glad that you do it. Mike, if you all are not familiar, and you should be, because Mike has been to this, Mike's been to the Lake Norman area before, in Charlotte before, many times, by the way. So if you're not already familiar with Mike, he is fantastic at what he does. Mike, I always like to kind of go back even to like the very beginning. When would you say it was that you first had that experience with music that was that light bulb that went off for you?
Like which light bulb are you referring to? Light bulbs.
Sure. I'm with that. As long as it's not, what is it? Justin Giuseppe's the owner here, is against the new light bulbs. Yes, but
I'm very against those bulbs too.
oh man, all right. Well, you and he should get together. He had a whole rant like a month ago, about the news that they were going to discontinue making, I guess, traditional light bulbs.
It's awful. The technology's catching up though. It's getting better.
Yeah. I love that, man. Because Epis should be. Is he gonna call in? Is he gonna call in, Bill? So I guess from the very beginning. So at some point, did you have an instance when you were younger that when you really thought that music it really appealed to you, right? It really grabbed you.
Well, at my earliest memories, music was a part of my life in a very profound way. It was everything for me at a very very early age, um, because you find, for multitude of reasons, but you find a friend in music,
Hmm.
and it can be comforting, it can be joyful, um, it can be uplifting, and it can feed into your uh, the angst of your youth, and all those things. But um, that happened at a very very young age, and then there were musical people in my family. There was a gospel group called the Sims Family on my grandmother's side. On my dad's side of the family, that was the first live experience I ever had,
All
and
right.
it was absolutely mesmerizing.
All
And
right, Mike, sorry, we're gonna have to go to break real quick. Sorry to interrupt. We're gonna go to break. We'll be right back to talk more about those mesmerizing experiences you had right back after the break.
okay,
Saturday, the 18th. WSIC will be broadcasting live from the event. Activity Row, Birkdale on Ice.
Awesome. Sorry about that, Mike. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have. I was trying to my timer. I couldn't quite see what was going on.
no, I missed the cue. I think
Oh, did he hit you? Sorry, did he hit you with the cue? I didn't.
I don't know if he did or not, but
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, just be on the heads up that this next break is going to happen at exactly 4:30. So
Oh yeah, right.
yeah,
Okay.
just keep a eye out on it for next time. We're all good.
okay.
Awesome. Yeah. Sorry, Mike, and sorry because it's so tight, and when I get in that and when we were dealing with your camera stuff, I didn't have a chance to kind of really usually do my quick tee up. So usually what I'll do is we'll start the interview, just kind of, getting in the background. I always like to get into the background of, like, what was the foundational things for you, as you were younger, or what were those foundational things that really set you into, really caring about music and the art that you do, and what grabbed you, and then usually from there, I'll depending on what you talk about and what you say, I'll feed off of that, and we'll keep chatting. It's a radio show, like we have commercials, but I more run it kind of more like a podcast. Like, I like to just have a real good conversation with you and give you a chance to tell us, all the ins and outs of what it is that you do and why you do it.
Gotcha.
Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
The Renaissance Festival is back Saturdays and Sundays.
Still running the Ren Fair. Couple more weeks, or like 1 more week, 2 more weeks.
Tickets available online only.
I'll be hearing it for the rest of my life.
Mike, we're looking forward to having you, man. We got a nice little audience so far going.
Mostly sunny skies through the rest
Very
of the
cool.
afternoon. That high temperature will be getting up near 66 degrees. Slight breeze around 5 to 8 miles per hour. Into the evening and overnight hours, we'll have
Yeah, let's see. You got a good crowd, man. Got 200,
gonna be under 40
almost 250
degrees tonight. This has been your weather forecast from the
sold so far. So it's gonna be a nice crowd. We'll sell some more before the weekend.
This is North Carolina Senator Vicki Sawyer. Join me on Fridays at 11 a.m. for our show, We're Just Saying. We'll discuss state and local politics, and as always, take
All
your
right,
calls
20
here
seconds.
on
Thank you,
News
20.
Talk WSIC.
Your home for non-stop Christmas music. Starting at 12 a.m. Thanksgiving Day.
Call now to speak with Justin Dionne at 844-STUDIO-4. It's Know the Scene on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to Know the Scene here on Tuesday, November the 14th. Excited to have you all listening. Thank you so much for listening. By the way, if you are listening to this and would like to listen to past episodes, or would like to make sure you know about future episodes, you can be sure to go on to whatever program it is that you listen to for your podcasts. I like to use the Apple Podcasts. It's just convenient for me with my phone that I have. But if you go to there, you can search in the search bar, WSIC Know the Scene, and you will find our the podcast version of this show. So enjoy the show without the commercial breaks. Not that we don't love our advertisers. We appreciate everything they do to make the shows happen. That being said, you can listen to podcasts of past episodes, and anytime we do an episode, you will automatically get like a notification or a ding, on your phone that says, "Hey, new Know the Scene has arrived." So really hope that you will consider subscribing to the show, and you can make sure to keep up with all the great things that are happening here in the Lake Norman scene. So today, again, we are joined by Grammy Award-winning Mike Farris, who is coming this weekend to Kane Center for the Arts on Saturday night. You can see him here at the Kane Center. He will. You can get tickets at kanearts.org. Again, kanearts.org for Mike Farris and the Fortunate Few. We're going to talk about that Fortunate Few piece as well during the show. But we had just kind of got started with Mike before we had to break about his experience when he was younger and how he was really introduced to music. So, Mike, can we pick up where we left off there, and you continue to tell us more about your introduction into music?
Yeah, I was just talking about how we had growing up several people on my dad's side who were musicians, and that just leisure musicians, and but there was a gospel group on my dad's side of the family called the Sims family, and that was really the first live show I'd ever seen, and it was great, man. They were kind of a bluegrass kind of based outfit, and family harmonies and stuff, and it was great, man. And they've continued to be music lovers and players, and then of course my dad was a huge. He loved music. He was actually a really good singer himself, and he we didn't have money, but what little, you know, so we didn't have a great record collection, but it was mighty. It was he had 5 records total, and it was 2 Jimmy Rogers records, a Hank Williams record, a Tennessee Ernie Ford record, and a Johnny Cash. Did I say Johnny Cash?
Oh wow. Yeah.
And yeah, and that was it. And but music was really sacred when I was growing up. I mean, music really wasn't played in the house except for the weekends.
Oh, interesting.
Music, well, just everybody was, they were busy, they were wore out from trying to put bread on the table,
Right.
and it just it was more of a sacred thing. Music was in general was more of a sacred thing. It wasn't ubiquitous like it is now. Like everywhere you go, it's music, and even to where the point where the way music is mixed and produced now, it's more offensive actually. It's like real in your face. Whereas you put on an old record and there's nothing offensive about it. It's real soothing, and even rock and roll. You can listen to a Pink Floyd record and the meters just float. Whereas now you put on a record and all the meters get pegged out to the top, no matter what you're listening to. It's not nearly as comfortable as it used to be. It's really interesting that's the way it is, but music it wasn't a constant thing around us back then, and so when you did hear it, it was really special. I remember riding to school was a big deal for me because the radio station that our bus driver would play was a local radio station, WCDT, in Winchester, Tennessee. And that station would play Motown and Stax and country and rock and just everything. And man, that was the window to the world for me as a kid. It was truly magical. So I always look forward to riding the buses to school, to be able to view that magical window. So those were the early musical imprints on my life.
Wow.
Especially the Jimmy Rogers records were the biggest ones. Those were the ones that really, I didn't realize that until the PBS special on country music came out a few years ago, and it took me back to those times growing up with not much means, but we had those records, and my dad would play them on like Saturday or Sunday, and it was just a beautiful time in that living room.
Yeah, I was thinking. So you, this was in Winchester, Tennessee, right?
Yeah.
Which is a very, really small town, right? And it's kind of in the mountains.
It's just at the foot of the Cumberland Mountains. It's
okay.
The Cumberland Mountain Range, I think it is down there. Yeah.
And so you grew so you grow up. You said your dad had 5. You had 5 records in your house when you were growing up. Now was that continuous, or was there a point when, as you kind of got older and maybe into like high school, that you started getting your own records you would listen to as well?
Well, at some point, my brother started collecting records. He signed up to Columbia Record House, and so he started picking up a lot of records. So then he got his own turntable in his bedroom, and so we would listen to on the main stereo in the living room. But he would come in with rock records.
Yeah.
And he'd also come in with stuff like the Isley Brothers as well, but Michael Jackson, Off the Wall, and stuff like that. So
okay.
We were getting a pretty good dose of well-rounded musical spectrum there. Fairly decent for where we were and who we were.
Yeah.
It was okay,
So So did you? So and at some point, I mean, so you said your dad, was a singer as well, and so at one point, did you, was there a point in there where you started having your own personal experiences with performing yourself when you were younger, or did that come a little bit later?
Well, my dad was just, he was just, he would sing as we were walking to the river to fish or something. You know what I mean? Or he would sing along the records. He wasn't a singer per se. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for all intents and purposes, he was a singer. You know. But yeah, I mean, there were moments where, like when I was in elementary school, I ended up going to a little elementary school called Broadview Elementary, and it was so small that one teacher would, like, first and second grade was in one class, third and fourth was in the next class, fifth, and the whole school was fed on a regular stove, four-eye kitchen stove with two old ladies who cooked pinto beans and cornbread and fried taters for the whole school. And that's how small it was. But our principal would go to New York every year and go do Broadway shows and stuff, and he'd come back figure out what kind of show they want to do. And they actually became known for putting on these productions.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
Everybody in that school was basically really poor, and so that was kind of interesting, and I wasn't interested in acting whatsoever. I just wanted to sing,
Yeah.
and so I got a role in that. And the cool thing about that was it took us places that really opened up my field of vision as far as the world, and expanded my view, and which was priceless for a kid that was so insular growing up, and places like St. Andrews, Sewanee University of the South up there, and it was like going, might as well have been on the moon. It was amazing, and but very, very foreign to all of us, and but it helped. I think looking back, it was hugely beneficial, and to my mental state, really.
So do you remember what that role was in that play?
Yeah, it was Little Orphan Annie, and I played the role of Rooster.
I could kind of see that.
Yeah.
Is that now, when knowing your voice and everything too, like, I'm like, I kind of was gonna say, well, you Rooster, yeah.
Yeah, I guess that guy was a little bit of a hellion. I remember very little about the play.
Sure.
But that was really cool. It was really, really cool.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I love hearing that. Well, all right. Well, we're gonna head to another break. Don't touch that dial, everybody. We're gonna come right back with more from Mike Farris, and when we get back, I want to talk about the Screamin' Cheetah Wheelies and how we got to there. Be right back. Know the scene.
This is gonna fly.
More Know the Scene.
Yeah, it
with
is.
Kane Center for the
It's
Arts
totally gonna fly by.
Executive
Sorry, that's why I was like,
Director.
so I think I want to jump into like how did you get into the the wheelies, and how did that kind of get going, and how did you end up picking up a guitar and realizing you wanted to sing, and then we can kind of go from there, and I'm sure you'll be able to take us to where I mean, it's a long. I know you've had a wonderful long career, so I'm trying to. We don't have a lot of time to talk about everything, unfortunately, but I'm gonna kind of let you point me in the direction, and I'll keep us moving.
Right, you got it.
Because I want to find out too. You've had a lot of different amalgamations of bands that you've had. So excuse me for not knowing perfect, but so you've the Screamin' Cheetah Wheelies was a big one for you, of course, but you've done so many other ones as well, and you played with so many great people, and with this Mike Farris and the Fortunate Few, Like what's, what can people expect? Like if they're screaming, if there's wheelie fans, like how does the Fortunate Few compare to that?
Right. Are we back on?
No. Sorry. I'm just trying to tee you up. Sorry.
Yeah. Hey, my agent is saying that that we can still be heard.
Oh yeah. If they're listening to the live feed, yes, we can. Like not on, we're not live on the radio. They can't hear us, but they can, if they're listening to the, like the Facebook stream, they can hear us through the breaks.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
It's like behind the scenes.
Okay. So they get to see how the sausage is all made.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, that sounds great. Because there's a lot to be covered here.
Yeah, well, I want to make sure you get a chance to talk about all that fun stuff. Sorry, I didn't mean to harp so long on the earlier things.
No worries.
A little over a minute.
Thank you, Bill.
It's at a price you can afford. Try it at Lowry Drug on Hartness Road in Statesville.
Looking for a great way to say thank you to your employees? Connect with your customers or send a holiday gift. Black Powder Coffee can customize a coffee and tea basket or box for you. And don't miss out on Black Powder Coffee's Holiday Blend. A smooth flavor profile with a bright beginning, buttery caramel, and baked chocolate finish. Black Powder Coffee, 261 Rolling Hill Road, or online at blackpowdercoffee.com.
Happening now at Randy Marion Ford in Statesville.
Randy Marion in Statesville continues to grow.
All right, fellas, 30 seconds.
All right, thank you, sir.
So what does that mean? That means great deals on a new make and model in Statesville, but it also means Ford Pre-Owned is moved right on Gateway Crossing Drive beside the Ford and Lincoln new car showrooms. So come see us today, Randy Marion Ford Lincoln, Pre-Owned Vehicles, Gateway Crossing Drive.
RandyMarionFord.com. Know the Scene
10.
continues. Here's your host, Kane Center for the Arts Executive Director Justin Dionne on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
All right, we are back. Know the Scene here on Tuesday, November 14th. Thank you all for listening. Justin Dionne, your host here. Again, we are spending time today with Grammy Award-winning musician, wonderful performer, singer, guitar player, everything. Mike Farris, his band Mike Farris and the Fortunate Few, coming this Saturday night to Kane Center for the Arts. If you don't have tickets yet, you can get them at kanearts.org. We've been talking about Mike's early history, being from Tennessee, outside of Nashville, a little ways outside of Nashville. And I wanted to jump ahead a little bit, Mike, to the Screamin' Cheetah Wheelies. which was I guess the first. Would you agree that was kind of the first big band for you in your journey?
Well, I mean, it was the first band I ever had.
Mm-hmm.
Everything just kind of. I didn't realize how quickly that whole thing took off, but we got the band together, and we were up and gone in a year and a half. We were.
Wow.
Yeah, it was super fast. Back then, and I didn't realize until recently really how young I was. I was only 22 years old, and by the time I'd already written my first record and gone through. Actually, even gone through a bout of drug addiction. Was trying to get clean and sober. Already before that, and really didn't have any musical aspirations. It never occurred to me that was actually a possibility, or I really didn't have a plan. As a matter of fact, I ended up. People who know me know the story, but I ended up even in a park for a time in Knoxville, Tennessee, and just was just hit rock bottom, and didn't really have a plan for my life, and so I began praying, uh, because that was I just had no other. I was at wit's end about it. I knew that there was some purpose for me. I believe that we're here. We all have our own special place here, but it's up to us to find that place, you know. And so I set out to find that place, and I just started. I prayed. I didn't. I just had to pretend, you know, and just try to believe that if there was a God, that He surely would wants me to be at peace and be happy and have a purpose-filled journey here. So I just started praying that with every breath, literally for the next 6 months to a year. I don't remember exactly how long it was, um, but I woke up one day and a song came to me, and I had been trying to teach myself how to play guitar, and then these songs started pouring out of me, and within just a couple months of teaching myself how to play, next thing you know, I had these batch of songs, and I started looking for a band.
Wow.
In Nashville, and connected with our guitar player Rick White, and I was like, look, we you know, do you know anybody? He was looking for a band, and I said, you know, if you know anybody else? I said, I don't know anybody, and he brought in the rest of the guys, and it took off super fast. It was we were up and running and touring the country with a couple top 10 hits.
And this is in the early 90s, right?
Early to mid 90s, yeah.
Early to mid 90s, and you guys were based out of Nashville at the time, correct? Still, because I know you were from outside of there, and you said you've been there almost your whole life. So this was in Nashville.
Yeah.
So what was that? Because you all, I mean, you would, you know, we would say Screaming Cheetah Wheelies is kind of, well, Southern rock, right?
I think it's broader than that.
Sure.
But it was Southern rock is something that happened in a period, and it never happened again. You know, for me.
Okay.
That defines a period to me. I don't see us as being. I think we were just kind of rock.
Just rock. Okay.
Some sort, you know, and we just happen to all be from the South. So.
What was that like in the Nashville scene at the time? I mean, I know Nashville is a town of all kinds of music, right? I mean, that's, you know, it's not just country music. I mean, people think of Nashville as home of country music, and it is, obviously, but it also just is filled with wonderful musicians. So, you know, when you guys were putting the band together in Nashville as a rock band, did that present any challenges against, you know, the Nashville country vibe?
No, not at all. Back then, I mean, Nashville has completely transformed recently. So it's not what it used to be. Back then, there were other types of music around Nashville. Nashville's always been the home of Black gospel music. Nobody's ever talked about that. You know, country music's overshadowed everything. But for generations, Black gospel has been based out of Nashville. Uh-huh. There was a beautiful rock scene back in the day that was wonderful, man, and lots of rock clubs around town, and everybody had their bands that they supported and everything, and it was great, you know. Unfortunately, people don't really have that. Nashville doesn't have that local music scene vibe anymore. It seems like it's going away.
Interesting.
So, yeah, it's very interesting. But we were fortunate, and you know, it blew up really fast. Like I said, it went from, you know, having 3-4 people in the club to, you know, packed out into the streets. You know, a couple of hundred people out in on the sidewalk trying to watch us and hear us.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So what was that? So, and if I'm understanding right in your story, like you, and we may be missing something, so I know we kind of jumped, but so literally you're, you know, you, in your words, you hit rock bottom, you know, you're praying for peace, you're taking time, and you just, at that point, well, you get to just starting to write songs and teaching yourself guitar, and then you know, meet the other guys in the band, and you go. So you had never had any, like, up until that point, had you been in any, you know, like garage bands in high school or anything like that as well, or did just this literally this was just a journey?
I never had what you would call a band. I played. I tried. You know, I went to some guys' rehearsals over here and tried to do, you know, like, you know, just kind of dabbling in it really, but never had any real commitment to anything really. There was a band in Knoxville that I did, you know, some stuff with, messing around, but there was nothing really. There was nothing, you know. It was just, it meant nothing.
Wow,
really,
that's
know?
amazing.
You know, and it was never. I don't know. I just never saw it as being like something that I would do or anything.
Wow.
You know,
well, and
yeah.
Sorry, you have. I mean, so folks, and we'll. Mike has, other than being just, you know, great guitar player, musician, you're obviously, I mean, Mike's voice is phenomenal. Like, your voice is phenomenal, and it is so individual as well, and filled with power, and it is, and hearing your story here, it is like, I am still somehow, I'm like, I must be missing something. Like, I must be missing something. Like, how you just, you know, ended up with this, I mean, just this powerful, beautiful voice.
Well, I mean, it was me. People don't know the power of prayer. The people who do know understand it. I can talk about it, but unless you've experienced it, and that's what changed my life. I was desperate to find my place of purpose on this earth, and I knew I wasn't here for just happenstance. And so I started praying that prayer, show me where I'm supposed to be. And I prayed that prayer literally with every breath I took for 6 months to a year. So the power of prayer is not to be underestimated.
Wow. So you're, I mean, so you would say that literally your wonderful, beautiful voice was God's gift that He gave you.
He totally revealed it to me. One morning I woke up and there a song was
wow,
fully written, and so that's how it began.
That's amazing. What a story. Yeah. What a story. All right, well, we're gonna take one more break, and we're gonna come back after the break with our last segment here with Mike Farris. Don't go anywhere. Come back, guys. This is a great story. Know the scene after the break.
More Know the Scene with Kane Center for the Arts.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike. Hey, I'm so sorry I can't see you. I'm like trying, usually I will, like, you know, I'm watching somebody and I'm like watching your like facial features and stuff to like kind of, you know, take trigger points off of us as well. But did I hear earlier, were you fiddling around on guitar?
Yeah.
Do you want to do a song?
You know, with this little time, I'd rather.
It's fine if you don't. I just thought I heard you fiddling around on guitar earlier, so I was like, well, if you want to play a song, you can.
I would rather talk about my solo career, because my solo career is way bigger than the Wheelies.
Right.
And so I'd like to talk about
yes,
that
sir.
a little bit.
Let's get there. Yeah, sorry. And I meant to get there quicker. We just, you know, started talking about the Wheelies, and the next thing I know, I was like, oh man, break's coming. So let's get there. When we get back, let's go. Let's just, you know, we'll move straight on from the Wheelies and talk about your solo career and everything you've done. And then it'll be a 12-minute segment, and then we'll be done. It's gone by quick.
Yeah, it has.
Well, again, I really appreciate you doing this, and I love getting the chance to chat with you and hear your story.
Yeah, man, it's always a pleasure to for anybody to take the time and spend it with me and talk about music. So
Yeah. Someone online says that said you were a good baseball player too.
I was okay.
Someone says, let's see, someone on Facebook is saying that he got your A2000 glove at this store in Still Springs.
Oh, wow. How did they find that?
I don't know. It's a guy named Mike Krupik on Facebook said that said that you bought your baseball glove from him.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, A2000. Is that what it's called? It was A2000.
Yeah, he says it's an A2000.
Yeah, sure enough. That was the big sports store and that we had in town. That was it.
That's cool. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, well, we'll get to your solo career, and I'm sorry we didn't move to that quicker, Mike. I apologize about that.
No worries.
Yeah, well, we'll just you just take me where you want to go on that. Tell me, we can move on straight from that and get all the things. Again, you've had such a it's when I have folks on like you who've
25.
Thank you, 25. Who've had who are still in a career that started in early 90s, right? It's hard to cover everything in this short time. So please point me where you want us to go, because I want to make sure we highlight you.
Well, I just want to make sure we covered everything. I don't want to demean what I've been. My solo career has actually been more
5 seconds
than the band.
Yes.
100.7 WSIC.
All right, we are back, everybody. We are back. Happy Tuesday. Know the Scene. Continuing along today with Mike Farris. He's performing this weekend at Kane Center for the Arts. Mike Farris and the Fortunate Few. We've had a great conversation so far. Talked to him about some of Mike's early history. Just spent some time just last segment discussing with Mike about his first band he was in. But we'd really like to transition now in this short time that we have left. Gosh, the show, I feel like I say this a lot, Bill, but I feel like we should just turn the show into a real podcast one day, because it's so hard to talk about everything in this short time. But Mike, we were talking during the break, and Mike's and while Mike, enjoyed being with his band, did some great things with the Wheelies. Mike's solo career has really been fantastic and really been where his big things are, and that's where his American Music Award, the Dove Award, and his Grammy Award for Best Roots Gospel Album have happened. Mike, can you tell us? It's all you. Tell us about how you went solo and your journey that you've had through there to now.
Well, we disbanded the Wheelies around, for all intents and purposes, probably around 2000, but I think officially like 2004. But by that time I had fallen in. I'd gotten real bad off in my drug addiction and moved back home. We were living in New York. Came back home and began my journey through sobriety. And I just took 2 years off, and I didn't plan on taking 2 years off. I just didn't want to. I didn't want to be in music anymore, and it was a dangerous place for people like me, and I really didn't want to go back, and eventually it looked like the doors were going to open back up for that, and I ended up doing a record called Salvation and Lights, and out of nowhere it became this huge critical success, and it was being named Album of the Year by the San Francisco Chronicle and the Philadelphia paper and New York Times, and freaking iTunes named it top 10 album of the year, it was really really crazy. And so we took it took off for us and won an Americana award. And it was all really just based on me doing old stuff. It was based on old black spiritual music, and which my manager Rose McGathy, who we lost in 2007, she's the one who suggested it. She wanted me to just do make a record that I wanted to make, and at that point I didn't even know what that was. I didn't even know why I had even gotten into music anymore, and I was so lost and disenchanted with it. And so she was like, just do the songs that you play around the house. So I did that, and lo and behold, it became great critical success. And then we moved on and did a live record after that, which won a Dove Award. Um, and then it just then and by the time we did Shine for All the People, in the middle of that one, I had realized that I was not sober, and in fact I had been using, but I had been using. I had back surgery and ended up addicted to opiates, and have been on them for years. And but in my mind, I was, it was legit, and I was still working, and I was still doing, being a responsible adult, but in fact, I was back in the throes of drug addiction again. And so in the middle of Shine for All the People, coming out of that, that experience, along with losing my dad, really shaped that record and informed me on what songs that were moving me at the time became part of that record. And it took me, like I said earlier, it took me to Los Angeles to where we won a Grammy with it, which was, in 2007, when I did Salvation and Lights, the first record, I had conditions when it looked like I was going to get back in music. I had a list of conditions for God, and these were the conditions that had to be met in order for me to get back into music. And if you want to make God laugh, they say, tell him what your plans are, and so I'm sure he was laughing at me, because everything on that list, it was a literal list that I had. I checked off every single thing, and a lot of that stuff had to do with, I wanted to be in an environment where I didn't feel like I was vulnerable to using anymore. And that was a big part of it, but everything on that list got checked off. But he went further and added a few things, like the Americana Award, the critical success that we'd never had before, the Dove Award, and then of course the Grammy, and then going to, we went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and we performed in front of Aretha the night that they honored Aretha at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and they asked me to come and sing one of her songs for her, and it's been an incredible journey of, one of the terms that I like is out of the wreck I rise, and that kind of sums it up.
Wow.
I was people had written me off, and I'd written myself off, and to have all this happen has been it's been an amazing journey that I never would have dreamed.
Wow. Well, I'm really grateful for you sharing all that with everybody, and the audience here. I think it's it's wonderful to hear all that and to hear your journey, like you said, and I think it's also, the story, as you mentioned, coming out of things. Like, I mean, having a couple, having some times where you went back and were able to, but, stopped yourself and moved forward and changed things where you needed to change them. I think that's amazing. So as we're looking into this weekend, tell us about Mike Farris and the Fortunate Few.
Well, I went through a phase, where I had my band was the Roseland Rhythm Review, and it was a big New Orleans spiritual kind of band, big horns and singers and all that. And then after we won the Grammy, it just felt like a good time to pivot out of that. So I came up, put a new band together, the Fortunate Few, and it's a more lean and mean kind of outfit. And now the journey's on a whole new thing of music. It's still spiritual to an, I mean, everything I do is going to be spiritual, but it also has, moments where I'm singing songs about my wife. And she's become a great muse for me. So, and yeah, it's getting back more to the blues and the rock and that kind of thing.
All right. So it is going to be, because I know you've performed here in the Lake Norman area before at, I want to say, Lake Forest Church here.
Yeah.
And I think you did a more acoustic kind of solo show then, or?
Yeah, I think one time we actually brought the band there, actually.
Oh, the full band too? Okay.
Yeah. But we play the neighborhood theater.
Yeah.
I really like playing the evening muse when I'm doing acoustic stuff.
Yeah.
It's I just love the room.
Yeah, the Muse is a great spot for especially like solo acoustic, right? Because it's just so small and intimate and living room feel. We're excited to have you at the Kane Center with the group as well. I think you'll get, I mean, we're a smaller space. I mean, we're 400 seats, but it stays very intimate, and it still gives you that. For 400 seats, it still gives you that living room feel,
Yeah.
And it's great because our audiences know that when they come and see artists at the Kane Center, they're gonna really get to enjoy you, and enjoy your music and your stories that you have, or if you feel so, however you do with your show, if you tell stories, people love that. It's almost like you can go that old VH1 Storytellers type show.
Yeah, I love it.
So awesome. Well, everybody, Mike Farris, thank you so much for your time today. Mike, we've really enjoyed chatting with you. Thank you for sharing your journey and your story. And we cannot wait to welcome you to Lake Norman this week and welcome you back to Lake Norman this weekend. Kane Center for the Arts this Saturday night again. Mike Farris and the Fortunate Few. Get those tickets at kanearts.org. Mike, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, guys. Thank y'all so much for having me.
All right. Have a great day, and everybody, we'll talk to you next week. Know the scene.